morning, everyone, and thank you for joining another Saleswomen in Tech virtual coffee. Today, I get to speak with Alison McCabe, who is a BDR manager in Fivetran. Alison, thanks so much for joining. And I suppose, first of all, how are you getting on in the role?
Thanks, Aoife. Getting on really well in the role. I'm here about 3 months, loving it. I'm managing a team of 10 BDRs and SDRs, so absolutely loving it. And I'm glad we're getting a chance to talk about the topic of mentorship, because it's a topic that's really dear to my heart.
Yeah. Brilliant. Likewise, it's something that I'm really passionate about as well. And I suppose a really good question to kick off is, have you had a mentor yourself in your career, and how has that helped impact it?
Yeah, I do. I actually have a mentor. His name is John O'Keefe. He's director of Looker and Mia, and he's been a fabulous mentor. He's had a massive impact on my career to date, just in terms of guiding my career in sales and helping me uncover and nurture my strengths in business development. At one point, I actually went to work for John in a company called Nitro. And even when the lines blurred between mentor and employer, he always had my best interests at heart. So it's a really good sign of a good mentor, especially when that relationship was kind of put to the test. And I'd always say I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for John. And that's, to be perfectly honest. He's been phenomenal. If I need him for a reference case, if I need him for anything really, he's just a phone call away. So I'd definitely be a massive advocate of having a mentor, and especially somebody like John.
Brilliant. Yeah, I totally agree. And what advice would you give to somebody that is looking for a mentor right now?
Yeah, finding a mentor, it can be a little bit hard, especially if you're starting out in your career. You might not have access to highly experienced professionals. It might even actually be harder if you don't have a business background and that kind of focus on finding a mentor. So what I would say is, look, be open-minded when it comes to your mentor. A mentor doesn't have any one size or fit. It could be that really successful aunt that you've always looked up to and has always given good advice or good feedback, or they could be, you know, that sports coach that you've always kind of aspired to be like. So be open-minded. I was very fortunate to have been assigned to John when I was in university. I signed up to a college program with Salesforce, and he's just been phenomenal, and we've taken the relationship since then. So that was about 7 years, even longer ago, when I met John. And yeah, and he's had such a positive impact on my life and my career to date. So and one piece of feedback I would give is, especially if you are in business a long time, that mentors you don't have to just have one mentor. You could have a couple of people that you look up to or you've met along the way that you really aspire to be like. So finding those people that, you know, you aspire to be like, and stay in touch.
Yeah, exactly. And it can be intimidating, I suppose, sending that first message, especially if it's somebody that you haven't maybe met, or you've seen them around your building and thought, like, that person, I'd love to work for them, but they're not my direct manager. So I often find as well, just asking them a question to kind of open a conversation, like, could you advise me in a certain situation, versus just randomly pinging someone and saying, hey, would you be my mentor? Do you have any other tips in terms of like reaching out to a mentor, or how would you go about actually finding one?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I would say, if you're looking for a mentor, be committed to the program. If you want to ask somebody for their advice or to be a mentor, it is a long-term mentorship and a long-term relationship. And as with any relationship, it should, you know, develop and nurture over time. And in any interaction, it should be all about adding value on both sides. So a couple of tips I would say is, start early. If you're in university and if there's any projects with companies, try and get involved with those. If you're already in a working environment, speak to your HR department and see if there's, you know, any people that would be, you know, if there is, first of all, a mentorship program, and if there isn't, if there would be any people that would fit the bill that you would be able to that they could put you in touch with. Or simply, you know, just asking somebody, you know, I really love the way you work. I like your management style. I like your experience, and asking them if they would, you know, devote or dedicate their time. I'm sure if anybody was asked to be a mentor, they would definitely be receptive to that, and open to it. So I would just say, like, take the lunge and ask the question.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Alison, one final question that we ask all of our participants in the virtual coffee sessions is, what piece of advice would you give to women in tech sales? And then I suppose, be that starting in your career, or if you're looking to move to a leadership role, is there anything in particular that kind of stands out?
Yeah, one thing I've always gone by, and this is just a fundamental principle, is just to work hard. You know, work really, really hard. Any projects that you see that you can get involved in, get involved. Certainly the people that I've seen progress quickest in their careers are people that, you know, really want to, you know, they see an opportunity and they really go after it. So definitely get involved. And another thing I would like to say as well is just to be good. Be a good person, be honest, have integrity, especially if you're in a leadership role. You might find that, you know, okay, being good or having integrity doesn't really have a direct impact on progressing quickly in your career. But certainly if you are in a leadership role, you'll find that people, and especially your team, will follow you because they want to and not because they have to. So they would be my 2 pieces of advice I give.
I love that, Alison. Thanks so much for joining, and everyone, thank you for tuning in. Look forward to another virtual coffee session with SWIT coming up soon. But for now, thanks a million and have a great day.
Thank you, Aoife. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Bye.